Hey folks, welcome back to West Yorkshire Retro Gamer. It's my final EFL Championship predictions video, and man, this is tough. 40 games have been played, 6 games remain. I've got the current table up in front of us here, and this one gives us the form guide of the last 5 games. So let's get straight to it. As you can see, I have divided the table up into the top 2, the 4 playoff places, the rest of the top half, the bottom half, and the relegation zone. Now, usually I'd mix this up a bit, but I think that's just going to make it harder. So I'm just going to have a punt at this, going from bottom to top. This hasn't been done with that much research or anything like that. I haven't looked at the remaining fixtures for the teams outside of my own club, Leeds. So do please take this with a pinch of salt. I might get some right, I might get a lot wrong. Who cares? Just for a bit of fun, really. So, without further ado, I'll start at the bottom and work upwards. So, with this in mind, let's start with who's going to finish bottom. Man, this is tough, isn't it? There's only 4 points separating Plymouth from Derby, and Cardiff for that matter. I'm going to take a rather large punt here. And I'm going to say sorry Cardiff, I'm going to say you come in bottom. Leeds' biggest win of the season came against Cardiff, and Cardiff were dreadful. They were terrible in that match. Now I don't know whether they've picked up a bit since. I mean, they've had a win and 2 draws in the last 5 games, which is not shabby form at all. And if you look at the bottom, all the teams at the bottom are actually doing okay, in terms of form. So, this is the time of the season when you really need form to be going on your side, isn't it? So, Cardiff could definitely avoid relegation, but they are down there and they've had more draws and losses than they've had wins. So, that is a concern for Cardiff, in my opinion. Moving on. 23rd. Looking at that current table, obviously Luton are there at the minute. They've only lost 1 of the last 5. They do have a striker in Carlton Morris who is proven at this level if he can find just a little bit of form, in these last few games, could maybe give Luton the firepower that they need. Derby are in really good form, aren't they? Won 4 of the last 5. Tough one, this one. Alright, I'm going to take a bit of another punt here. Stoke. Sorry, Stoke. Ever since you came down from Premier League, you've done nothing in the Championship. You've always been bottom half, and this is one of the worst seasons you've had. And when you look at the form of some of the ones below you, your form's not amazing. You do have a little bit of a cushion points-wise at the minute, but you know, I don't think Stoke have pulled up any trees since getting relegated, and this could be the year that they go down. And joining them, this is very tough. Torn between a couple of options here. I'll be totally honest, I'm torn between Luton and Derby. Because I have a weird, very unusual feeling that Plymouth might just scrape survival. Don't know why. I truly think the relegation battle comes down to the final game of the season. I really do. I think it's very, very tight at the bottom there. Very difficult. So, do Derby keep this form going? Derby are on 11 wins, 8 draws, 21 losses, 42 scored, 52 conceded. Luton are on 10 wins, 9 draws, same number of losses. They score less and concede more. And currently have less points. Sorry, Luton. I just think Derby have hit form, and while you've only lost one in the last 5, it's 2 wins and 2 draws. One of those being against my club. Of which, by all accounts, you were in the game for large parts, and I mean, at the moment, my team Leeds are playing rubbish. They're playing really poor compared to earlier on in the season where we looked almost unbeatable. So yeah, I'll have to go with Luton on that one. Just purely on the form guide in comparison between you and Derby, and also on the basis that I think somehow, and I don't know how, but I just have a weird feeling. I have a weird feeling that Plymouth might stay up. I don't know. I don't know what that's based on. I think if they get relegated, I think they should keep Muslik. I think he's getting an okay tune out of Plymouth. And if they hadn't had Rooney this season, they'd have survived. With anyone better than Rooney. I'm extremely confident on that. If Plymouth get relegated, it's purely because of the Rooney era at Plymouth. It's that simple. And again, Plymouth have found a way to play without Whittaker, who was arguably their star player. So Yeah, I don't know. I just have a strange feeling Plymouth might just stay up. And then obviously with the form guide going the way it is, you know, we've got to think that Derby will probably survive too. Next, I don't know why this tab button's it. Doesn't seem to work straight away. I don't know. So after Derby, let's go. I don't know. How about? Yeah, looking at that form guide is a little iffy for the other two promoted teams. But how about we have all three promoted teams from last season? I think it's all the three promoted from last season. Derby, Oxford, Portsmouth. I think it is, isn't it? So with that in mind, let's cluster those together, shall we? So let's just say, there's not a vast amount difference between the two, is there really? So let's just say, I don't know, for argument's sake, let's just go Portsmouth. And then let's go Oxford United. Oops, forgot to tab. Always happens on a live stream, doesn't it? Well, live recording, I should say. Right, okay. Next. I mean, it's just steady away for them, isn't it, at the moment? So let's go Hull City. I don't think that's too unreasonable. QPR. I expected QPR to do a little better than they are doing right now. Because on the next cluster of teams, you've got, currently you've got QPR, Swansea, Preston, Sheffield Wednesday, currently making up the rest of the bottom half. These middly teams have got some of the not so good form, haven't they? I mean, QPR, they haven't had a win in 5. And Blackburn, my God, what the hell's happened to them? 5 losses on the bounce? Jeez, that ain't good, is it? They can count themselves out of the playoff race then, if that's the case. That's awful. I can't even tell you Blackburn's manager is at the minute, because Eustace went, didn't he? Was Eustace at Blackburn? And then he moved to Derby? My head's so mush at the minute. So I do apologise. Going through a lot of stuff personally. Alright. I mean, with all this kind of like middle of the bottom half, it really doesn't matter that much, does it? Because the teams are all safe. They've got now to play for. They're not going to get relegated, and they're not going to, they're not going to finish in the playoff ones, are they? Their target will be like top half kind of thing. So, not to dwindle too long on this, because it's a bit of a nothing position really into this middle section. So, how about we go Swansea City, and then we'll go Preston North End. Norwich's form ain't that great either, or Watford's. Good God. Then if you go even a little higher than that, like West Brom. Only 1 win in 5. Yeah, a couple of draws in there. Coventry have slipped up recently, albeit they've had a couple of tough fixtures. Because they were on really good form, weren't they? And now they're slipping. Bristol seem to be keeping their form up. Middlesbrough's picked their form up after going through a dodgy spell. Guys, all over the place in Championship, innit? What the heck? This is why it's such an awful division to get out of. Well, promotion-wise at least, anyway. Alright. How about we go... Yeah, it's really iffy from Watford, Norwich and Blackburn, isn't it? All three of those are poor. So that's QPR. Yeah, QPR's actually really bad. Oh, they haven't had a win in 5. I've got to go Queen's Park Rangers, and they ain't got any form, have they? Right, then 13th will go. Despite the form, I mean, that form can't continue for Blackburn, can it? I mean, it's dreadful. They're going to have to find a way. Torn between Watford, Norwich, Blackburn and Sheffield Wednesday at the minute. Those 4. Sheffield Wednesday to finish off the bottom half. Whoops, sugar. Right. So then starting off the top half, I mean, I can't put Blackburn any higher than this, can I? Because that form's dreadful. So they're going to have to go 12th. And I was tempted to put Blackburn lower. I really was, based on the form. So then let's have a look. I think surely Norwich with their firepower, with Sainz and Sargent, that's got to be enough to propel them up a little, hasn't it? I mean, they're very even, aren't they? 13, 14 in terms of wins, draws and losses. It's really even across the board there. Really even. And it really does all depend on the fitness and availability of Sainz and Sargent, doesn't it? That's what's going from the Norwich have got a positive goal difference compared to a few of them around them. So, with that in mind, I mean, 17 losses, it's quite a few, isn't it? But Watford haven't drawn as many as some, have they? So, I think Watford next. I don't think that's too unrealistic. I don't think any of these choices are major unrealistic. Maybe the Plymouth shout is a bit of a bold prediction. I mean, it hasn't worked out for Mark Robins at Stoke, has it? You know, he was doing well with Coventry, and then, you know, he's another one that just can't seem to get Stoke into gear, so I don't know. Luton changed their manager, their fortunes haven't really changed, have they? So after Watford, who we got then? So are Norwich likely to challenge? Their form's not great, is it? 1 win, 1 draw, 3 losses. Well, they have got that firepower. Millwall's form ain't dreadful. 3 wins, 2 losses. They're relatively even across the board as well, aren't they? 14, 12, 14. Don't score many, don't concede many. It's so middly, isn't it, for Millwall? It really is. But their form is a little bit more consistent than some. I think just because Norwich's form is pretty poor, I'm going to have to go Norwich next. But again, with that firepower, you never know if they can keep those two fit. Gotta go Millwall next, really. I mean, just a lack of consistency in it. One week they're drawing, one week they're winning, one week they're losing by the looks of that kind of form. Well, not drawing as such, but win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. You're just gonna go. You're not gonna go anywhere, are you? So, all right. Getting onto the area that's going to be really, really closely fought now, isn't it? Really, really close. Oh. There's going to be a little bit of a bold prediction going on here. I think. So I'm going to go I'm just making sure I haven't missed anyone here. So I should have 8 teams: Burnley, Sheffield United, Leeds, Sunderland, Middlesbrough, Bristol, Coventry, West Brom. Yeah, so I haven't mentioned any of the current top 8. Yeah. Okay. Right. With that in mind, then, so we are on the right track. So. Weird, isn't it? On that table, the lines look wrong, don't they? Like, it looks like there's only 3 playoff teams. Like, I don't know if like the lines are a bit darker or a bit lighter. That's weird, that. Obviously, we know that the top 6 are going to get in that playoff. So, let's just revert back to the form guide a little bit again. Middlesbrough really have propped up their form, haven't they? Because they were dire for a little while. They had a really bad patch. With that form alone, you can't count Bristol out, can you? 15 wins, 15 draws and 10 losses. Ooh, this is going to be a really wild punt. So, I'll tell you what we'll do. Top 4 is going to be top 4. I haven't decided on the order yet. So, Middlesbrough, Bristol City, Coventry City, and West Bromwich Albion. Which 2 are taking up those 2 playoff spots? Man, this is tough. Tough. I'm going to take a punt at the following. I'm going to go Coventry 8th. and I'm going to go. I can't type, can I? What the heck? Yeah, I'm going to do that. Coventry and Middlesbrough just narrowly missing out. Which means, never thought I'd be saying this, I really didn't. I'm going to say Bristol get a flipping playoff space, I don't know how. And I'm going to say that West Brom sort their form out. Don't know why, just got a feeling. They brought Mowbray in, didn't they? Very experienced at this level. And West Brom for some time were there or thereabouts, weren't they, for one of those playoff spots. So I think maybe Middlesbrough and Coventry's form had maybe peaked, maybe just not quite at the right time. Depends on the fixtures, and I haven't checked the fixtures. So if any of these teams have got a good fixture running, then you know this prediction could be awful. But don't matter. Alright, so I think we can be pretty certain that Sunderland finished 4th. No doubts there. This is where it gets tough. And this was the bit I was dreading, partially because it involves my team Leeds. So, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? This is difficult. Very, very difficult. Burnley don't lose. Sheffield United are on more wins, but a lot less draws and quite a few more losses. Burnley have a better goal difference. They just don't concede, which makes them very difficult to beat. Not a lot between the two in terms of how many they score. And then comparing all of that to Leeds. Leeds have won the same as Burnley. Drawn a couple less, lost a couple more. No, sorry, I've gone a row down. I'm looking at Sunderland. Sorry, my apologies. I need new glasses. I apologise. Yeah, so Leeds have won the same as Burnley, drawn a couple less, lost a couple more. Yeah, that makes more sense. Of course it does. Leeds score a shed load more than both Burnley and Sheffield United. They concede slightly less than Sheffield United, but concede more than Burnley. But still have the best goal difference in the division. Then let's have a look at form. Burnley don't lose because they don't concede. The wins then in more recent times have been a bit more fruitful, but it was a toss-up whether they'd win or draw. And they had so many 0-0 draws. Absolutely bonkers. Sheffield United were also on very good form, but have just lost to Oxford. I mean, that's nearly as flaky as Leeds drawing to Luton, isn't it? And then Leeds, not that much different in terms of the form guide compared to Sheffield United, but there's more draws involved instead of wins. Leeds on paper, and I've seen this from other videos in recent times, Leeds on paper have a slightly easier run-in than the others, however Leeds do still have Middlesbrough to play. at the Riverside, I believe, as well, which doesn't bode well for Leeds, really, considering that Middlesbrough have picked up in their form. This is so difficult. And I'll tell you for why. Because I think that Leeds' form will pick up. And I think that Burnley versus Sheffield United, which is the third to last game of the season, I believe, I think that ends in a 0-0 draw. I think both teams will drop points, and that is the one final moment that Leeds will have to get ahead of them. Both will drop 2 points, and if Leeds are within 3 points of both of them, then I think Leeds will win the game that they play. I can't even remember who we play on that same match day. But I think that's the moment where Leeds go top, and then I think Leeds will then finish the job off. This is, this whole division is tight as buggery. It's horrible. You only have to look at some of the situations here. The fact that I think that Plymouth might scrape survival, they're only 4 points off. It just takes a few of the others above them to screw up, and if Plymouth can pull a bit of form off, they'll stay up. Stoke, Stoke and Luton, both of those teams should have been better this season than what they have been. The three teams that have just come up from League One, they're all battling hard, aren't they? I mean, a few games ago, I had Derby down. I had Derby relegate a few games ago, but you can't argue with the current form. And if they can, even if some of those wins start becoming draws, at this stage of the season, I would say from Hull up, they just need to draw every game, and they'll stay up. And then it's just, after that it's a battle then between kind of like the bottom 5 or 6 ish. It could be it could be any 3 from the bottom 6 for relegation. Again, it depends on if someone has a mega dip in form or a mega increase in form, doesn't it? And then at the top, I mean, any of the top 3 could finish in the top 2. It's that bloody close. Let's not beat around the bush here. Any of those top 3 could finish in the top 2. So, if my prediction is different to everyone else's prediction, it's fine. You know what I mean? Because nobody knows. Nobody knows. And then for the playoffs, it's tough for those 5th and 6th positions, isn't it? And any club from Middlesbrough, Bristol City, Coventry, West Brom, would fancy the chances. Maybe even at a squeeze Millwall. That might be pushing it a little. But again, you just can't call it. I think I literally think the only team that has basically secured their position for the rest of the season is Sunderland, which is weird, isn't it? It's weird that only one team in the entire division has confirmed their position for the rest of the season. I don't see Sunderland dropping any lower than 4th. I don't see them getting any higher than 4th. Yeah, I just don't. It's crazy. So anything can happen here. So all I'd say is, if any fans of any clubs, like Luton, Stoke and Cardiff for example, just take this prediction with a pinch of salt. You've all got a chance of staying up. You know, Plymouth, Derby, Portsmouth, Oxford, Hull, Swansea maybe. You know, again, you're not out of it yet. If your form dips, you're screwed. Maybe even Preston. I mean, at this stage, you know, when you look at it, in seasons gone by, 50 points has been the safety point. So you could literally say that anyone from Preston down isn't fully safe yet. 6 games. That's what, 18 points available? 18. That's a lot of points. You know, this isn't a prediction with like 2 games to go. This is 6 games to go. This is a lot of points to play for. And, you know, mathematically, no one has been confirmed promoted or relegated yet. So, you can't, you know, nobody can really say, oh, so-and-so's definitely up and so-and-so's definitely down yet, can they? You just can't. As I say, the only definite thing is that Sunderland are finishing 4th. They could lose the next 6 games and I think they still finish 4th. I mean, what are they? 15 points clear of 5th. That's crazy. So, yeah, so Sunderland are finishing 4th. You know, I mean, what is it between them and Leeds? 7? Yeah, I mean, Leeds would have to, you know, they'd have to go the remaining 6 games probably without winning. And I don't think that'll happen. So, yeah, there we have it, folks. The Leeds prediction may be a little bit heart over head, if truth be told, because I am worried. The form isn't anywhere near what it needs to be right now. But you know, our squad is really well stacked in 90% of all positions. We don't have any major injuries, albeit Strout's just picked up a knock. So I'm hoping that Strout doesn't end up being out for the rest of the season because he's vital. He's vital in that back four for me. We've got Verber and Bamford that are back to some kind of fitness. Ampadu's back to some kind of fitness. Nonto's not had too much bad effect from his ankle injury that he had, so you know, from Leeds' point of view, you know, the players are getting towards you know, being fit enough to get through the rest of the season, which then gives Farke all the options that he needs. But what Farke needs to get his head out of is that just because Ampadu's available, that Ampadu has to play. As good a player as Ampadu is, you know, Tanaka and Rothwell, certainly in the home games, is the best partnership in midfield. You know, you could play maybe Ampadu and Gruev in the away games if you like, if you want a bit more stability. But I don't know, it's up to Farke. I don't tell him what to do. He's a qualified manager, I'm not. So there we go. Right folks, gonna leave it there. That is my final EFL Championship prediction for the 24-25 season. Please don't take offence with where I've put your team. I could be completely wrong with 23 of these 24 picks. I'm 99% sure Sunderland finished 4th. So big thank you for watching. Do please hit the like button. Do please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Try and enjoy the rest of the season if you can. And I'll see you in the next. stream or video. Catch you later.